Thank you for joining us for this special interaction. An interaction with a figure we've always known at the turn of this century in our body politic. And since the fourth democratic dispensation, I have to say, having practiced journalism over the last 23, 4, 5 years, that we've had some strong personalities. One of those personalities was once a member, strong one, a founding member of the opposition New Patriotic Party. He then made a decision to transition from being a member of the NPP into leading a pressure movement that not only will create a new divide for the strong members of the democracy we have. And since then, he birthed the movement for change. Today, he decided to make a new move for that movement. He's birthed a political party. Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen is my guest. Good morning. How are you?
Thank you, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm well.
It's been quite a while.
Yes, it has been.
And you've been in this game for some time. You're
Yes, I have
talking
been.
25, 26.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
And you have a new political party outdoored.
Yes.
What's the name of the party?
It's called the United Party, abbreviated as UP or UP Plus.
Okay.
That's the name of the party. It's
Looks-
actually a transition from the movement for change. You know, I contested for the 2024 general election as an independent candidate. And there were various reasons why I was compelled to do so. But we signaled even at that time that the movement was always going to transition into a formal party, whether we win or lose. So this move that has resulted in the creation of a new party had already been part of our plan and program when we started the movement for change.
But a United Party, as the name sounds and is, really is not new to Ghana's body politics or political dispensation, is that not it? Kofi Abrefa Buzia was a founding member of the original UP.
Yes, so but that's the story behind it. You know, in 1957, the original United Party was established in November 1957. And it had come about because President Nkrumah at that time had promulgated, as the parliament under his administration had promulgated a new act to prevent parties that had been established on either ethnic, religious, or secular basis. And it was called the Avoidance of Discrimination Act. So as soon as that act was promulgated, it required the then parties that had a sense of or a semblance of ethnicity or religion. Those parties then needed to transform into broader-based parties. So 7 parties came together and formed what was called the United Party, UP at that time. And some of the constituent parties was the NLM, the National Movement, which was led by Bafo Akoto, with headquarters in Kumasi. And of course, you had the Northern People's Party, you had the Law Youth Organization, the Muslim Youth, so
the Togoland Congress.
Yes, Congress, all of them.
Shimokpe.
So all of them came together to avoid being caught under the Avoidance of Discrimination Act and formed a broad-based United Party, UP. And of course, they still contested, but in 1964, the party unfortunately had to be disbanded because it was at that time that Kwame Nkrumah was able to get Parliament to introduce the legislation on a one-party state. So that saw the end of
the demise, so to speak,
of the UP.
Do I dare say and ask the question? It looks like you decided to make a choice from an environment of strife and a movement, and then culminate into a political party as the United Party of today, just like the old. Is that the same? A difficult environment, and then you're birthing a new UP from that same difficult environment in the present day?
Yes. Yes and no. But the yes part is because the United Party at that time, the old United Party, had some core values. And obviously, it was about unity, bringing all those parties together. It was also about fighting against dictatorship. It was about freedom and liberties of the individual. So some of these were the core values of the original UP. And the UP, again, also later on gave birth to the Progress Party led by Buzia, and then later on the PFP led by Victor Osu. So you could see that it has been a chain of party groupings based on the original UP. And we came as a group of friends, we came together as the Young Executive Forum to become founding members of the MPP.
From the 80s, the late 80s, so to speak, 85, 86, 87.
87, yeah. But then when MPP was established in 1992, we had already been in existence as the Young Executive Forum. Interestingly, with the same ideals as the United Party. So it became more or less obvious that once the NPP was being established on the back of the UP tradition, then the Young Executive Forum would naturally be one of the most vibrant and dynamic groups within the NPP. So I was a founding member of the NPP, a very senior member of the NPP. I've been in 2 administrations of the NPP. So in this particular case, the movement came out because we had disagreements within our party about the fact that, at least I did not feel that the NPP was living up to the values of the old NPP. And a number of things occurred, and I resigned from the party. And then at that time, I established the Movement for Change, because obviously the time was too short to establish a full-blown party. But then the principles that I stood for were still anchored on the old values, yes.
If I have to ask you a candid question,
yes,
and it's just plainly based on your own assessment,
yeah.
How would you say, since the establishment of the Movement for Change, the transition from your disgruntled members, you inclusive,
yes,
their performance on the political scene and stage, contribution to political discourse and policy formulation
yes,
and implementation,
yes,
how would you say it has been? Because certainly either they contributed well or not into all the public opinion that affected the last election. Yeah. I will or will not be surprised.
Yeah, so of course you've talked about the performance of the Movement for Change in different areas.
In your own assessment.
So you talked about policy formulation. Now, even though we were established as, I would say, a political entity, not a political, full-blown political party, we were the first...
More like a pressure group.
Yes, we were the first to come out with our policy blueprint. I mean, the parties called theirs manifestos. We made it clear that a manifesto is only a set of promises that are made. And we were interested not in manifesto promises, but were interested in a comprehensive policy blueprint, which you can execute when you come into power. So in terms of contribution, that was very significant, that the movement for change put together the Great Transformational Plan, which has been acknowledged not only in Ghana, but
the
beyond.
Yellow Book.
Yeah, the Yellow Book.
GTP.
Yeah, GTP. So that actually came even before the manifestos of both the NDC and the MPP. So if you're talking about how successful were we in terms of, let's say, policy formulation, which you wanted there. So it's clear. It's very obvious. Yes. Yeah.
And then your people. Their influence on the political scene.
The influence has also been very significant. If we are objective, you'll find that even now, as we speak, before today, when we formally announced the establishment of the UP, some of the most powerful contributors to public discourse have been from the movement for change. And
really?
I know that you've been very gracious as TV3, and you've been fair and balanced.
We have been fair and balanced?
And not only to give opportunities to the two main parties, but you've also given opportunities to communicators from the movement for change. And I think the verdict is clear. The verdict is clear, I mean, in terms of contribution to the public discourse. Not only on TV3, but on all panels, and not just one person, a whole number of them.
Right.
So in that second department also is clear. So which other area of inquiry would you...
We'll talk as we progress, because your GTP, when it was outdoored, I remember in January or February 2023, because you were one of the earliest, you did a live broadcast.
Yes, really. yes, absolutely. So you tracked this.
Yes.
You tracked this very well.
And I have to say that Solomon Owusu, we have Nani Al-Sapon,
yes,
we've had some great ones. We have Dr. Boabing Asamoah. They started it.
They started
You see a former general secretary. And then subsequently, you also see another one, or heading to, and subsequently we've
absolutely.
had...
and Andrew Appiah Dankwa also...
Yes, Andrew Appiah Dankwa.
Shows up.
Rodalyn is always available.
Yes,
so the question that had always been asked, and I also asked it too, as a host.
Okay.
Where were all these great talents who contributed to political movement in the MPP when the MPP was in power?
Interesting question. The matter speaks for itself as lawyers. So if you are wondering now how we had all these talents within, let's say, a powerful party like the MPP, one of the duopoly parties, and they didn't seem to be celebrated. But now, moving out into a small political entity like movement, suddenly people get to appreciate what their contribution has been. So I say the matter speaks for itself. So it shows that the opportunity to shine was not available when they were part of the MPP. Because otherwise, how do you explain it? As you seem to be asking. But then it also then shows
I don't understand. Are you saying they were pulling you down?
Well, the matter speaks for itself because they were all part of that party. And if you didn't hear about them, and now that they are part of movement, you are hearing about them and actually are claiming that they are doing well, then it shows that the movement for change, even though it was not a full-blown political party, was structured to allow people to unleash their own potential. And so it's very clear. And it's not only in that. It's the same thing with even coming out with the GTP. So how is it that all these gentlemen who were part of the MPP, they were part of the MPP structure, and they were not able to produce the quality, the level of quality of policy blueprint, and they were only able to do so when they came out of the MPP into a much smaller political entity. So again, it shows you that moving out of an MPP into movement, the nature and structure of the movement was providing an opportunity for people to shine and express themselves.
And blossom.
And blossom.
Fantastic.
And blossom.
That said,
yeah,
it also points to one thing.
Okay.
That the United Party, which you lead, is never going to break away from its historical father, the MPP. Because, for example,
yes,
in the last election, there was a particular video I saw on TikTok, and as somebody who is quite old,
yeah,
and now transitioning into this Gen Z era, I go to TikTok a lot. There was a particular...
You are old and you are transitioning into
the Gen Z era.
So you are going back.
No, not necessarily trying to associate with their values. There was a particular video I saw prior to the main election. You went to Kumasi, and everybody, that's almost ball.
Yes.
Almost ball, and almost ball watches.
Yes, yeah, I am.
And everybody the crowd was milling around you.
Yes, yeah.
MPP members.
Yes.
Well attacked.
Yes.
You and your yellow, I think you were going to visit or do some handshakes. And they're all milling around you.
Yes.
So that's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
It looks like the United Party, which has now been formally inaugurated and outdoored, is not going to run away from its own mother party.
No, rather, the way you should process it is that it does mean that there are many people currently in the NPP who sided with the decision that I made to come out of the party. Because where were all the people coming from? Obviously, you don't expect that they would be NDC sympathizers. Most probably, one would assume that these were people who were aligned to the MPP, but who felt that the exit of Alan was going to be a blessing for them. So if they showed that affection and that support, as you have suggested in my mega video, in my mega marches, it was all only in Kumasi, in Accra, then it does mean that I still have a very strong base within the MPP, and they are only waiting for an opportunity for the movement to transition into a full-blown political structure. Then they can be aligned to it.
Mr. Kyerematen, all the indicators post-2000 has shown that all the parties that get to be established, breaking away from NDC MPP, don't get to be successful. How do you think the UP of today is going to stand the test of time?
So one needs to appreciate and understand the dynamics of those parties and the period within which they've come alive. And I'm sure sometimes it's a bit sensitive just to be speaking about specific examples. But generally speaking, if you look at the people who have led those parties that have come out of either NDC or MPP, yes, they would probably have been stalwarts in the party. You understand me? But then the reason why I presume the context and the dynamics now is different is that if you look at the nature and character of our politics now, with the duopoly between the NDC and MPP, our politics has become so divisive and so rancorous that if there was ever a time in this country where there was a clear need for a third party that would bridge the political divide. If there was ever a time that has become critical, that time is now. So those who left much earlier and tried on their own, maybe the context was different at that time, because there was probably no real need at that time, a strong need for a third force. But I'm saying that right now, it is very clear. It's not just the rancor and the divisiveness, but it's also the performance of the two parties. You know, so it's so clear that now people are looking for another opportunity that they would, yeah.
What then is the UP offering?
Number one, it's a broad-based, that's number one. Broad-based meaning that we are open to membership from all sections of the society. Number two, it's a centrist party. When we say a centrist party, it is basically a party that straddles between the center-right and the center-left. So we are at the center. We are a center party. Number three, also, we seek to unite the nation. So it's not just a question of being at the center, but that is reflective of the name of the party, bringing the country together. And last but not the least, also mobilizing the collective strengths and talents of all Ghanaians, irrespective of age, religion, or ethnic affiliation. So you can see that it's broad-based. In terms of political philosophy, it is at the center. We are taking the best out of the center-right and out of the center-left. And then also, we want to mobilize the collective strength of all Ghanaians. That is the heart of the... So the MPP is not doing that. It's on the extreme. The NDC is also on the extreme, on the left. But just try and understand the nature and character of Ghanaians generally. You can see that we move closer as individuals to consensus building, to compromise, to balance. That is the average Ghanaian. So for the first time, you find that there's a new political party that speaks very much in terms of its philosophy to the very nature of Ghanaians. Ghanaians are not generally extreme. You know, they're always in the middle. So they've always probably been waiting for a political party that has a philosophy that seems to bring everybody. The fact that you hear all these insults going on does not mean that people are happy. How many people come on in the media, on the air, that are making all this noise? The majority of people don't like that.
So from what I hear from you, you are offering the alternative.
We are offering the alternative. It's not just an alternative, but a credible alternative that naturally speaks to the character, disposition, the values of the Ghanaian. So it means that this is what they have been waiting for.
Yeah. If I read your history very well and followed you, when you were in the MPP, you were one of their key financiers, especially when you work with those international organizations where you had enough network to be able to mobilize.
And also when I was chairman, of the Young Executive Forum, at the start of the party, we were the financing, I would say, anchor of the party, and I was chairman of all the young people who, I mean, who later on became heavyweights in the party. I was the chairman.
But you will concede that what confronts or will confront the UP of today is monetization of our politics.
Yes.
How do you intend dealing with that?
Okay.
Because without money, really.
Yes.
Because you have to buy iPhones. So Longusu, for example, needs to have multiple iPhones to be able to convince people to vote. That's what's happening now.
Yeah, but you see, let us try and interrogate the matter. How many people do you find being beneficiaries of this moneycracy? How many people? If you are talking about both parties, these are delegates. They buy the delegates. Is that not? How many delegates are you talking about? In the MPP, they don't have more than 220,000 delegates. I'm sure within the NDC, plus or minus maybe 300,000. Together, they are not even 1 million. So the majority of, if you have, let's say, 12, 13 million voters, only 500,000 people are benefiting from the monocracy. So we should not generalize the monetization of politics to be something that every Ghanaian is proud of. In fact, I would say that most Ghanaians are against monetization in politics. And so if there's a new party that has a philosophy, a motto, which is Ghana first, that's the party that now speaks to the interest of Ghana, not the interest of the political parties or individuals, then naturally we will gravitate towards that. So even though there's this general concern about monetization, how many people are beneficiaries of this monetization? So in actual fact, if we are saying that no to monetization and monocracy, we believe that the majority of Ghanaians will rather now move into a party where you can stand and become, which is your constituency.
Tema
I'm going
West.
to recruit you.
Originally I was a Shaiman, but now in
I'm going to recruit you to become the parliamentary candidate. Now he's getting frightened.
No, I'm not frightened. Once you add money, I just need about
you don't
10
need money,
million.
because in our case, you don't need to pay for votes to become a parliamentary candidate.
And you think you can win in Ghana?
But,
Would it be possible?
But this is the problem. How many people are benefiting from this monetization? I think we are generalizing it too much.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So it will not be, for me, it will not be a factor.
Okay. Now it's your
But
former
of
party.
course, let me say that obviously party organizing political activity is expensive. But that's different from monetization, where you are paying.
That's a regular financing.
Yeah, regular financing, yes.
And so you want us to go to the status quo, regular financing?
Yes, regular financing.
All right. And before you birthed UP, I mean, Mr. Kyerematen, you were given an amnesty. There was a whole statement that was issued by the New Patriotic Party. Indeed, I even asked Solomon about it, asked Pierre Dankwa about it. Nani Asapon, I couldn't meet him at the time. Offering amnesty to people like you, including Solomon Owusu, lawyer Pierre Dankwa, and the rest, Rodalin, and all those people. And you decided to go and establish and adore a new political party, Mr. Kyerematen.
But Roland, that was probably the most presumptuous, I would say, statement that was made.
Presumptuous?
That they are granted amnesty. Well, they granted amnesty. They defined those who could benefit from the amnesty. Look, I have been a founding member of the NPP. I've been a distinguished senior member of NPP. I left on my own accord. And even at the risk of sounding a bit boastful, I can tell you that I'm one of the most popular politicians within the rank and file, of the NPP.
You are sure?
Obviously. Look.
You conducted a poll?
Let me tell you that the truth of the matter is that within the NPP, the rank and file, you see, people confuse the leadership and then the rank and file. I'm talking about the rank and file of the party. You know, all the aspirants who are vying for power, you ask them.
You mean the base of the party?
Yes, the aspirants now who are vying for power. The majority of them, when they go around, they talk to people. Majority of them are people who are Alanites, as we call them. Okay. So you cannot grant, a party cannot talk about granting amnesty.
Why didn't you take the amnesty?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That I didn't even understand what they meant by the amnesty. You understand me? If it's political amnesty as we know it, you know, and that's what they were talking about, then it didn't apply to me. You know, it has no value for me for them to say that they are granting amnesty. At any rate, they even said that those who left on their own are not part of the amnesty. But it had no application to somebody like me. You understand? And
Did
it
appeal
shows,
to you?
and even shows the arrogance, you know. Look.
Mr. Kyerematen, are you making claims here? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Brian Champon, Kenny Japan,
yes,
the General Secretary,
yes,
Kwadwo Kyerematen, the arrogant. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think you understood what I said. I'm saying that if the leadership of the party are saying that they've granted amnesty to those who somehow are no longer part of the party, but those that left on their own, they are not part of the amnesty. That's what I was talking about. You see, because you go into an election, 2.1 million people of your supporters refuse to vote, even at the risk of going into opposition. So are people thinking, I mean, you have a party, and presumably you have your base. Why is it that you think that 2.1 million people of your supporters, even at the risk of going into opposition, decide that they will not vote for the MPP? So it must suggest to you that they are not probably prepared to go to NDC, but they will not vote for MPP. So they are ready for a new vehicle.
You think it's possible that we could have UP parliamentary candidate just like the NDC also was able to prune MPP seats in the Ashanti region?
But this is exactly what is going to happen, because I'm saying that, and you probably may have heard about the so-called Okoye report and the other surveys that were done post the 2024 election. It's not that people are not owning up to it, but it is very clear from the reports that the fact that they created a situation where Alan had to leave the party was one of the major reasons why so many people actually refused to vote. Because the propaganda was, look, well, if you vote for Alan, he's an independent candidate, he's not going to win because he can't form a government. That was the propaganda led by some of the MPP propagandists. So the answer for many of them, the MPP rank and file, was that, well, it's Alan we want. But if you are saying that Alan cannot win, we are not going to vote at all.
That's what they told you? That was the opinion you were picking from the rank and file?
You are in the media, so you can do your own.
Okay.
Study.
I'll go on with that. That said, what's your own assessment so far of what that has been happening? You make claims of insults being traded. Is that what you assess so far?
Oh, but I think that being in the media space, I don't need to be convincing you about this, that the type of public discourse, that is going on our airwaves is not something that we should celebrate. And it is because it is a constant fight between the NTC and the MPP about which of the two governments is more corrupt, which of the two governments has failed to deal with Galamsey. But I'm surprised you seem not to appreciate what I'm saying. Because if you monitor the airwaves, are you genuinely saying that you are pleased about the type of language that is being used on our airwaves? And we have made it clear that part of our values in the United Party, in the UP, will be to make sure that we bring decency in public discourse. For us also to have that level of tolerance for diverse opinions. It's all part of our value system.
What do you make of the MPP internal presidential race that's taking place? And then also the conversations and the tirades they are throwing at each other?
Well, you see, but that's the point. And very respectfully, Roland, I will not come and sit here as, I would say, as a politician that has basically just adored a new party to be discussing the race for the leadership in the MPP. No. I still have a lot of friends in the MPP. There's no doubt about it. Don't get me wrong. I made it clear to you that even at the risk of sounding boastful, I still am one of the most popular political figures within the rank and file. So, yes, it's not as if I don't have friends there. My problem has never been with the rank and file of the party. When I was resigning, I made it clear. My problem has been with the leadership. The party has been hijacked.
By who?
Let's not get into that. Let's use this executive time because we are discussing what will move Ghana forward, not NPP matters.
What's your position so far on how the government of John Dramani Mahama has supervised the anti-Galamsey fight?
To be very objective, I would say that they are making an effort. They are trying. It is clear that there's the political will to get things done. But unfortunately, they have not been able to articulate a comprehensive and I would say
strategy,
a results-oriented strategy and policy framework. The things that they are doing are not entirely consistent. And for me, I feel that they should look at my 10-point plan and agenda to stop Galamsey. And I've talked about this. I've put this out in the media as part of the
GTP.
By the GTP, And if you look at the GTP, it speaks very much to what we need to do about stopping Galamsey. And of course, I know it's not all about this topic, but I hope that we can do a follow-up interview just specifically on Galamsey. So I think the government has the will to try and get something done. But it's not going far enough. And okay. I think it's such a serious matter that the government must really now come to terms with how they can decisively deal with it. So the position that they've put in place some measures and they need to give that some time to work. I don't think that is a way.
In your 10-point plan, you said there should be a ban, etc. Do you think?
Yes.
Do you think that should be done in tandem with putting in place a state of emergency?
Well, because my worry has been, what is the state of emergency? What is the state of emergency? But our proposal is that the nature and character of Galamsey makes it very difficult to distinguish between legal small-scale mining and illegal small-scale mining. That's the problem. So when you impose a total ban and enforce that ban within a period of 1 year, this matter is so serious that I can't even believe that this proposal is not being taken up.
The 10-point plan?
Yes, the 10-point plan. So you
suspend any certificate of agency,
yes.
Remove all small-scale and community mining license.
Yes, because you see, when you put a ban, and I said a ban for 1 year, at least for a period of 1 year, it means that the issue of having small-scale mining does not arise. I don't know whether that is the same thing as state of emergency, but as for state of emergency, it can mean so many things. But imposing a ban is imposing a ban. So basically, it is not allowed for a period of 1 year. And within that period of 1 year, it means that all the licenses that have been given, of course, those don't have license, that they don't even have a basis to be doing what they are doing. But then even those with licenses, we during that period of the ban, we ensure that we audit those licenses and then make sure that before the end of the ban, that those who have been able to use their licenses properly are the ones who would emerge. And within that 1 year period, we restore all the water bodies. So it's not that you are just imposing a ban for the sake of imposing a ban. You restore all the water bodies within a period of one. There's technology can easily be done. Now, can you imagine? Now the argument is about de-chemicalization. Ghanaians, we are becoming a NATO country. No action, talk only. Why are we fighting about terminology? During the period of the ban, we have to make sure that we restore all the water bodies. And during the period of the ban, we also have to reclaim all the lands. Do you know how much those who do galamsey, the young people, do you know how much they earn? 200 cedis a day. The people who are benefiting from galamsey, how many are they? You get me? So the other component of the 10-point plan is that during that period of the ban, we make sure that all the young people who are currently engaged on mining sites, we now create corporate entities. That's different from cooperative mining. Cooperative by nature is still doing small scale. But in this case, you create corporate entities, companies, for those young people. And then those corporate entities now are given medium-sized licenses to organize medium-sized, So that's basically what it is.
Many people of today, as the young people of today, don't know that it's because of you, through the Presidential Special Initiative, that we're able to wear African print and kaftans, even on TV, days apart from Friday. Because initially it was Friday, transitioned to the other days, and then now we can even come on Monday and wear them.
But even the designation of that initiative as Friday Wear was strategic. Because this was the first time I'd gone to Cabinet and I'd asked Cabinet to make it a national policy that we should wear Friday every Friday. But it was an entry point strategy. Because if you said every day, then obviously people will resist it. But then you have seen how effective it has been. It has given business not just to our tailors and sisters, but also to the textile companies. But you know, in Ghana, we don't celebrate success. And you rightly pointed out that many people don't even give me credit.
Because I was just about to ask a question about what do you make of the 24-hour economic policy and plan that has been outlawed? Of course, it has to be progressively introduced in such a way that the market organically picks up to be able to create the demand for it. And then how could it have been better implemented? Because, you know, we had 1D, 1F, which you supervise, I'm told.
Yes. No, you see, the principle behind the 24-hour economic policy is sound. Because all you are saying is that you want an economy, whether it's in the service sector or in the manufacturing sector, or in that generally speaking are operating throughout the day. Now, the principle is good, but it is what is the implementation modalities for that? You know, so just talking about it is one thing, and making it happen is another thing. So what I would have expected the government to do, if they were primed to continue and take off from where the previous administration left, is to say that the previous administration had 1 district, 1 factory, which was apolitical. It didn't matter whether you were MPP or NDC. And at least at the time I was leaving, we had almost 300 companies that had benefited from the 1 district, 1 factory, using government support incentives. So it would only have made sense that this government would have said that, look, 1 district, 1 factory companies are the first candidates for the 24-hour economy. What do you need, each of these 1DF companies, to make you run 24 hours. That is all. It's not a complicated matter. And so if a particular company needs more raw materials, that's what you provide. If they need additional equipment, because government has already invested in, remember, the 1D1F companies were not state enterprise. And this is another, I think, misconception. These are private companies. People who have borrowed money and government has supported them. So now a new government comes, you want to help companies to run 24 hours. You have companies there. So that should have been, rather than canceling the 1D1F program. But it's not too late.
I think they've just metamorphosed it into another entity being supervised differently.
Yeah,
that could trickle into the 24-hour policy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that the 24-hour economy policy document itself has some good elements. I mean, there's no doubt about that, you know. But what I'm saying is that it is the implementation that is the important thing. And if you had started with the 1D1F as the basis for it, you would have gotten more traction.
But you know that the economy, we went to the IMF, we're debt-ridden so far, and so you say that the government is doing well or not on the economy. What will be your rating? What will be your own assessment so far? The dollar is against the cedi.
You see, there are several elements in economic management that one would have to consider. Okay. So if you look at, let's say, the currency, I would say to a large extent, what they've done is to be appreciated. There's no doubt about that. At least you can see synergy, policy consistency between Ministry of Finance, that's on the fiscal side, and the monetary side. At least you can see an effort, you know, and that's to be commended. But the point is, how do you sustain that? How do you sustain that? But number two, if you're looking at it from the point of revenue mobilization, then you can see that there's no evidence that much has been done in that area. I'm sure they are working on it, but then as of now, there has to be clear evidence that we are optimizing revenue. In terms of rationalizing public expenditure, I think they've made some good progress. I mean, trying to cut down on government expenditure, lean government, and so I think where the current government can do better, it's in the area of industrial development. Because basically that's where the jobs are going to come from. And I believe that more needs to be done to support manufacturing and industrial development.
Okay, yeah. You have worked with the WTO and headed the organization creditably.
Yeah, not the WTO. Oh, I was nominated as Africa's candidate to become the Director General of the WTO.
So you're very familiar with the WTO?
Yes, absolutely.
And the president currently is in China?
Yeah.
Okay. Here on ground, we have, if you look at the value chain, as far as supplies are concerned, the Chinese now have their wholesale market here. And so they are directly interfacing with the market. In this era where China is a big global player when it comes to logistics and supply, at the global level also having good relations with third world countries like ours, how do you think we need to, as a country, treat that relationship so that you don't take advantage of the open door policy we have, and then at the same time, us as a government and a country trying to maintain good relations with their governments as we try to at least rid the sector or try to sanitize it for our own people?
I think that the government has to prioritize certain strategic industries and make sure that investments coming from China are directed to those strategic industries, and so that the new strategic relationship can feed into government's own agenda rather than the agenda of the individual Chinese companies. Because it is very clear that if you look at the areas that are of critical importance to Ghana's economy, the Chinese are not necessarily there. So, yes, in terms of diplomatic engagement, I've been an ambassador to the U.S., so I know that for at least the initial steps taken by the president to go to Singapore, now China is going to Japan, and if you look at the outcome of these, you can at least give them credit that their economic diplomacy effort is on track. But the point is now that you have to do your homework well and then identify strategic sectors and make sure that you channel this economic diplomatic efforts to support these strategic sectors.
Yeah. Now you have a party to run.
Yeah.
So once you have united party,
yeah,
it means that you are a competitor with the MPP.
Yes.
But having been a stalwart,
yeah,
of the MPP before they booted you out. You said they booted you out.
They booted me out.
That's what
I
you
left.
said.
Oh, no.
Okay,
I'm surprised you are.
Okay. So
I resigned
you
honorably.
You resigned.
Because
I just heard Boniface Abubakar said they booted you out. That's why they said they booted.
Yeah, they were booted out.
Okay.
Yeah, because they said they sacked. Yes, because they followed me.
So I thought
yes,
it was the same that you.
No. I resigned honorably. I resigned.
But they were booted out.
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you make of the presidential race of the MPP?
So you come back to this topic?
I asked you a question earlier. You didn't.
Yes.
Did you answer the question?
No. I answered. No, I said, why do we want to use this
United Party time?
This prime time to be discussing the prime minister. But you see, I also made an
Because you told me you are still friends. Let me premise it. Because you are still friends with. When was the last time you called Dr. Baumia? When was the last time?
Look, I'm saying that.
What do you make of
that? I have a lot of support within the rank and file of the NPP. You understand? And that's where the majority is. So they have always been sympathetic to the kind of politics that I've always.
Okay, answer my question. What do you make of the presidential primary of the MPP?
No, I'm not interested in that. Okay. Why would I? Because the point is that they have their own, I would say, program. Okay. They have their own program. And so let them go through the process, and then when they finish, I wish them well, all of them who are contesting. I wish them. But the interesting thing, Roland, is that the same thing that I complained of in the party, which led to my resignation, these are the same complaints that are coming from all
I don't understand. Which other things?
Oh, let's not focus on that. Because we talked about the lack of transparency and fairness, and the fact that even at that time, that it was clear that the party had been basically programmed, to support one or two candidates. I made it clear. But if you listen, it's the same complaints. See, so now I should be vindicated. I should be vindicated because all the things I talked about are now coming to the fore.
You've been vindicated? You mean the bottom, top, bottom approach?
No, you're squeezing this into his. They are bottom, top, bottom, or bottom up. That's what they are doing. I'm now talking about
their plan.
The complaints that have been coming up in the media about what is going on. The same things that I've been complaining of.
Which are the complaints?
Well,
that you have been complaining about? That is happening now.
I just told you the lack of transparency, fairness in the run-up to the elections, in the compilation of the albums, that the fact that the process was being managed, state managed, to support, a particular candidate or candidate. So it's the same thing that they are.
Mr. Kyerematen, let me ask you this question. Don't you think that you look at Dr. Brian Champong?
Yeah.
Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. You have Ken Japan.
Yeah.
Don't you think that if you were there, you could have been the main man now? Because everybody would have been tainted and you would have been the neutral.
But Roland, you still are going back to these MPP matters. Remember that after President Kwadwo, there were 17 of us. I think majority of them cabinet ministers. 17 most senior members of the MPP after President Kwadwo who contested. People forget about this in the 2007 primaries. Now, it is important for people to remember that out of these 17 gallant men, when we finally went to Legon, there were only 2 of us who were left. And look at the difference. Look at the difference. All the so-called heavyweights, how many votes did they get? How many? Some 9, 22, and things like that. You understand me? But these were heavyweights. Now, how is it that Kwadwo Kyerematen and then President, at that time, candidate Kwadwo, were the 2 people who were left? And in actual fact, in spite of what happened, which everybody knows was stage managed when the election was disrupted, I still managed to get enough votes for the 2 of us to go into. So whether people like it or not, I will say it openly. Okay. In MPP, right now, it's either you are pro Alan or you are pro Akufo-Addo. There's no doubt about that.
I see.
And so if people keep on talking about, oh, Alan does not matter and things like that, it's up to them. They must try and understand how come 2.1 million people refuse to vote. Okay. You know. So now that I've made my point clear, it means that there's no going back. I have a new party.
All right. There are key things that you need to do as United Party.
Yes.
You need to organize a conference or a congress. Yeah. I don't know which one you'll be calling it. You need to outdoor your party constitution, etc. Yeah. What are the timelines?
We have probably the best crafted constitution in Ghana now. We've already adored it. Well, it's part of the requirements to get a provisional license. But if you get a chance to read it, you would understand that even the way we have started as a provisional, as a party with a provisional license, the way we've gone about this, you can see this is the party of the future. You know, if you read our constitution, if you read our organizational setup and things like that. You know, Raymond, I've been in this game. And I know that I am competent, I'm incorruptible, I have the network, and I have the vision and the integrity to put this. But that's not where we are, because at this stage, we've just started. We are all interim officers of the party. I'm not imposing myself on the party. So basically, we are all interim officers. We'll go through nominations for all positions before we make our final list of executives.
Mr. Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen, it's a delight speaking to you. The last time you criticized the former president, in local parlance, you blasted him. Do you still speak to him?
Oh, I speak to him.
When was the last time you spoke to him?
I think on Thursday, we're in Kumasi together for a funeral. But you see, it's so amazing. I look at your face, Roland. You are such a savvy, elegant, interviewer, and you bring back the subject matter, and your disposition does not even change, as if you are not aware that you are going back to the subject matter. So I commend you for that.
Well, former President Akufo-Addo, have you been speaking to him?
Oh, no, we haven't. I think he's been in and out, No, so we haven't quite spoken, but no.
Not on phone.
No,
you don't call them
it's just because we haven't had a chance to meet, yes.
So unless you meet at funerals, you don't call each other?
You mean with...
The former president, John Ejekum Kufuor, and then also Kufuor. Unless you meet at funerals, you don't call each other?
No, we all have, I would say, busy schedules. But when we meet, we definitely confer. So I don't think that's a problem at all.
Mr. Kyerematen, nice talking to you.
Roland, are you
know, Solo is my very good friend.
Are you going to now become the parliamentary candidate for
United Party?
For the United Party.
I'm a journalist.
So that's the difference.
In the meantime, I'm a journalist.
You see, so that's the difference. Now we are no longer a movement.
Yeah,
we have a full-blown organizational structure with parliamentary candidates who will be selected.
Yeah.
So this is where the action will be.
All right, great speaking to you.
Yes,
and very vociferous as always. Alan John Kwadwo Kyerematen, alongside his interim officers as well as his soldiers, decided to launch their own party, United Party, fully registered under the laws of Ghana. And congratulations to you, sir. Thank you. We promise to give you more platforms for you to air.
We very much appreciate that. Yeah.
Your own policy ideas and improve our democracy.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
As experienced as you are.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, you can get an upload of this interaction on TV3 Ghana as well as other subsidiary platforms of Media General. Bye-bye.